What is up, everybody? Welcome to the EU1 Calamity Season 6 Semifinals. We've got a wonderful game lined up for you guys. It's going to be RNGD versus IP. I believe this is the first time these two teams have ever faced each other. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. A lot of notable names from both sides here. Mainly on the RNGD side. I know a lot of these players, really good guys. A lot of one. Really excited to see what they do. So a little different from the last few games we covered. These are going to be best of 11. Because as you progress through naturally, the number of rounds will increase. So we've got a very long, exciting game for you guys. Looks like both teams have the full 7 in here. And are starting to pick up tanks. I believe they're still deciding on the map bans, but it looks like RNGD is going to be banning Prokhorovka. And it appears if IP does not ban Himmelsdorf, that is going to be the first game played. Seen a lot of strats on maps like that, a lot of meatball looking stuff. You'll have teams rush in with all 7 tanks. Not sure if that's what we're going to see today. I've also not watched a lot of EU games, so I'm really excited to see how this is going to be a little bit different from NA. I know on NA we have a lot more aggressiveness sometimes, so curious if that's going to stack up any different this game. And it looks like they are going to be banning Cliff, which I don't believe is one of the 7 maps picked for this week. So I guess that will be a no map ban from them. Unless they want to recorrect that. So it looks like we are going to be starting out on Himmelsdorf. And I am marked as spectator now, so I will be able to see these tanks. Jagdpanzer E100. What an interesting pick right off the rip. Don't see that a lot. If he pulls that back out, that's going to be a real devastating gun to get shot by. Kind of curious where they're going to put him. But wherever he is, whatever's in front of him is definitely going to know about it. That is going to be a tough shot to take if they do decide to go down that route. Looks like RNGD, one Chai Vagabond, has decided to pull out the AMX 50B already. Exciting to see. Kind of curious if they're going to pull out more than one of those and do a little bit of a wolf pack situation. And it looks like the Jagdpanzer has already swapped over to a Type 5 Heavy. So, side of IP going extremely heavy already this round with those 2 Type 5s, big hit points, big gun, and can get some interesting bounces. Looks like the side of RNGD has deselected the AMX 50B, and now we have one popping up on the side of IP. And a Sturm Tiger on the side of IP. Okay, so we've replaced the Jagd Tiger with a Sturm Tiger. Even larger gun. Even trollier. Which we love to see. Hopefully they will keep that out, because that's going to keep it interesting. You do not want to get hit by one of those. That could be a devastating game changer during a push. It looks like RNGD is going to take their time, think about this strategy well, and get something in place. Now, we've seen a lot of teams go for a kind of banana push in a counter push from the defense side. I'm kind of curious if we're going to see another one of those come out here. Very common play. But based on the Type 5 Heavies and the Sturm Tiger, I'm really curious to see what exactly IP's plan is here. It could be slightly different than some of the other games that we've covered in the past. And it looks like they are going to bring back the 50B as of right now. And RNGD has decided to ban the Kronvon. Waiting on the side of IP to pick what tank they're going to ban. Now we've seen, I think the most common we've seen are the Murat and the STRV 103B. But on today's maps, not sure how true that's going to hold. All right, there's the second AMX-50B coming out for RNGD. Two AMX-50Bs coming around a corner on a push. Kind of a devastating thing to deal with. However, the Sturm Tiger might be able to do a little bit of damage to those if it can catch them off guard. Bone Sneak picking up a mouse, and Ledzio picking up a Waffle E100. Another tank that we have not seen in previous games on Himmelsdorf. Another tank that also, if it gets hit by the Sturm Tiger, very devastating outcome for that Waffle. Unless it gets some of its clip off, but this could be a rough matchup for him, depending on who he sees, and especially with those Type 5 heavies as well. That's going to be a rough hit. So hopefully he can kind of play sneaky, come out and use that clip where it actually matters, and get those pins. And I know we saw on Sand River, the Waffle E100, kind of an odd pick for that map too. Was able to do quite a bit just catching tanks off guard. So I am excited to see what maneuvers Ledzio can make in that Waffle E100 to get them the advantage. And it looks like IP has decided to ban the Stritzvon 103B. Very, very common tank ban, and they have decided to swap their map ban from Cliff to Murovanka. Looks like they have every tank picked up on the side of IP, just waiting for this game to get moving, and we are going on in to game number 1 on Himmelsdorf. On the side of RNGD, we've got a Mouse, a T110E5, 2 IS4s, 2 AMX-50Bs, and a Waffle off E100. On the side of IP, we've got a Chieftain Mark 6, 2 Type 5 Heavies, 2 IS4s, an AMX-50B, and a Sturm Tiger. Now, just in the first 15 to 20 seconds or so, we're going to be able to see kind of a rough outline of what these teams are going to do. It looks like RNGD going heavy on the ACAP side, expecting something to happen that way. Very forward and aggressive defensive play on their side. Looks like IP opting to send the 50B and the Chieftain Mark 6 up to hill, along with the Sturm Tiger. Looks like a pretty traditional play here on the IP side. However, on the side of RNGD, something we have not seen from teams covered on this channel yet. A very aggressive push coming from the defense, locking into the J line. Going to try to catch these heavies off guard, which the Type 5 heavies are in a position if they play forward, especially Gardine here. This could be rough. Oh, immediately takes a little bit of damage there, but he is going to get away relatively free for now. And now they know that at least the AMX-50B is playing over here. Cotel gets spotted in mid. I believe he got spotted, by Dodger Blue there. So he has a little bit more information on what exactly is playing in the center. Now we're going to see some trading blows here through mid from Koza. Cotel kind of trapped where he is. If he backs up, he will get shot at least once. Gardine going for a shot on the IS-4, led by Fuki Lord. He's in a bit of a 2v1 situation here, but his gun is pretty good at getting these chip damage off of this IS-4 here, so he's probably going to be able to get another little bit of damage in the next shot. Koza appears to be playing it a little more aggressive. He's rotated off of the G line. Kotel still playing in the mid window. And we have the tanks on the hill trying to get shots over onto the tanks playing down the E3 line. Kind of a stagnant game at the moment with that aggressive push out the rip, expecting to see something coming their way. However, fortunately for IP, they did not fall into the trap. Good shot from the Type 5 Heavy onto the E5. That was a wonderful shot. It's gonna cost them whenever they end up going for that push later, as they're already at a hit point deficit just due to the sheer heaviness of the IP side. Like I said, the Waffle E100 does get spots, so now they know where that tank is. And we have overview from the Sturm Tiger playing in the window on hill. Looks like RNGD is going for a rotation. Going to play a little less aggressive. However, they are leaving Koza out there to make sure nothing's going to go awry on them while they're rotating out. Get a little bit more information as well. Waffle E100 does get spotted rotating out. So they're going to have a little bit more information on where a couple of their tanks are playing. So Kotel doing a great job just getting as much information as he can in that spot without losing any hit points. Now they're playing a much more passive defense after that aggressive play didn't lead to any major overturn. Dodger Blue and Kotel choosing to just keep spotting each other in mid, keep that information alive. Looks like both sides are playing pretty stagnant. Maybe a little too stagnant. The time is ticking down on the side of IP. They're going to have to make a move eventually. Good little HP pin there from the Sturm Tiger. Only got 53, but damage is damage at the end of the day. In a game like this, where we're running down the time, every little bit counts. Again, super slow plays from both teams here. However, on the side of defense for RNGD, that's exactly what you want to do. You want this team to burn their time down. The less time they have to work, the better. No rotations. Once they run out to 2 to 3 minutes, they only have one choice, and that's to commit where those tanks are. Looks like we are getting some movement from the Type 5s and the Sturm Tiger. Going to be heading right towards Koza. Looks like Kotel's going to be rotating out of the window, probably going to join up with the other IS-4. Looks like the Type 5 does get spotted. Koza now gets the information. He's going to try to get out of there, which he should be able to with relative ease. I don't know if the side of RNGD is expecting a full split. It looks like Bone Sneak might make a little bit of a move here. He is. He's going to be rotating out, which may be a bit of a mistake. I don't think they realize that 4 tanks on the side of IP are still playing for BCAP. They're going to be able to get set up with relative ease. I think this little play over here by the Type 5s and the Sturm has kind of thrown them off. Good hit into the AMX-50B there. However, big punish on the Sturm Tiger. He's already out of here. What a good focus fire. Got a little bit too aggressive. Tried to get a little bit of HP taken down, but it cost him his life in return. Now the hit points on the side of RNGD. Up by roughly 1,000 points. What a turnaround. That was a wonderful kill. Exactly what RNGD needed. But now they're going to have to deal with this IP push. It looks like Bone Sneak going to opt in to play directly forward, get these resets, and delay as much as he can, while the other tanks, the IS-4 AMX-50B, And another AMX-50B. Go for the rotation around. This is going to be a major punish on these IS-4s. They are not looking forward to this. Looks like Motnik's going to go down first. Kotel doing a great job to preserve his hit points. Try to keep him alive if he can. Down to 134. He goes down. Kotel down to 876. This is not looking good for IP. Big hits on the Kotel. Fuki Lord down to a one-shot. Maybe too little too late, though. This Kotel's about to go down. Io's coming in on the 50B, about to be reloaded, going for Victor. Opts in for the Ram. He's had an unfortunate fire, lost most of his hit points. And this is going to be cleanup duty for RNGD. Leaving just the 50B and the Type 5 Heavy alive. Type 5 being alone by himself over there on the tracks. Down to a 2-hit. Wonderful hit on the waffle before he goes down, though. Insane roll there. However, it's just not going to be quite enough this late in the game. It's going to be the end here for them. That's a wonderful first round for RNGD. Head on over to the scoreboard. On the side of IP, we've got Gardine in the Type 5 Heavy, 0 kills, 2698. Victor in the Chieftain Mark 6, 0 kills, 1831 damage. Mrazota in the Type 5 Heavy, 0 kills, 1420 damage. Kotel in the IS-4, 0 kills, 1230 damage. What is that? Jalad? Local Jalad in the AMX-50B, 1 kill, 553 damage. We've got Peace Duke in the Sturm Tiger, 0 kills, 404 damage. And we've got Motnik in the IS-4, 0 kills, 377 damage. On the side of RMGD, we've got Ios in the AMX-50B, 2 kills, 3,936 damage. Ledzio in the Waffle off E100, 1 kill, 2,806 damage. Koza GG in the T110E5, 2 kills, 2,563 damage. Chai Vagabond in the AMX-50B, 0 kills, 2,435 damage. Bone Sneak in the Mouse, 1 kill, 2,145 damage. Dodger Blue in the IS-4, 0 kills, 1,719 damage. And Fuki Lord in the IS-4, 1 kill, 1,596 damage. Wonderful first round from RNGD there, able to make the rotations and catch that Sturm Tiger off whenever he made a little bit of an aggressive play there. Did kind of cost him. Also, that rotation back into the other cap whenever they were playing tracks. Wonderful split there. Caught the IS-4s off guard. Not much they could do. Beautiful advantage that RNGD was able to pull out of that relatively far into the game. Now we're going to be switching sides. This time, IP going to be on defense. It does look like they are choosing to play the Waffle again. And also the Sturm Tiger. So not much difference as far as the lineups go here. This is interesting. IP does choose to go ahead and take an FV215B. A little bit different than last time. However, on the side of RNGD, looking relatively the same. Curious if they're going to be making a track play with this. They are going quite heavy with the IS-4, so possibly another banana play. We'll see. Looks like RNGD already up to the full 7 tanks, just waiting on IP to make the match here. And then we'll get this next game going. It looks like a prediction has been ran in the chat as well, so thank you to whoever put that up. That's what you like to see. Looks like IP taking their time, thinking about their strategy a little bit more. We've already seen that they've picked one different tank than last time. They've already pulled out an FV215B. Wonderful tank for DPM. Great brawler. You see them a lot on this map. However, recently, not as much as you would expect. Plenty of people in the chat as well watching this wonderful EU1 semifinal game on this fine Sunday. All right, it looks like IP has taken a Super Conqueror, so that's a little bit different than usual. But another very safe play from them. Good DPM, good upper hull. If in the right position, wonderful. Am curious where they're going to stick it. But wherever they do stick it, if it can get that lower plate down, it is going to be a little bit of a rough one to get out without a push. I will say I do like the kind of abnormality that RNGD and IP are running here with the waffle and the Sturm. Keeping things interesting. I mean, we've seen other TDs come out, but usually not these two on this map. And also the pure aggressiveness of RNGD on that first map. Curious if they're going to maintain that as we go into round number 2. Possibly doing a little bit of a push through the defense. But only time will tell. IP still needing to pick 3 more tanks before they're ready to go. Opting in to pick a mouse. Get a little bit of that hit points back. Not a very bad move. And another AMX 50B. So we've got 2 50Bs up. Good clip potential between those. Just to match the side of RNGD, who has also picked 2 50Bs. Just waiting on Victor to pick his tank, and we are going to get this round going. Just to make sure that everyone noticed that he did pick the 50B. He has deselected and reselected it a couple of times. Unsure why, but maybe to check his commander. Who knows? All right, there goes the flip. So now we are on the proper sides. All tanks have been picked up, and we are about to head into round number 2 on Himmelsdorf with IP on defense. All right, on the side of IP, we've got an FV215B, a Super Conqueror, a Mouse, a T110E5, 2 AMX 50Bs, and a Sturm Tiger. And on the side of RNGD, we've got a Mouse, a T110E5, 2 IS4s, 2 AMX 50Bs, and a Waffenträger of E100. So again, first 10 to 15 seconds of this game, we're going to see exactly what these teams are planning on doing. Looks like the Waffle is going to opt to head towards Hill, similar to what the Sturm Tiger did. Going to see an IS4 heading there as well, and 2 50Bs. They're going to send most of their heavies down, kind of similar to what the Type 5 was, going down the K line. On the side of IP, we've got the Super Conqueror going to play an aggressive position, kind of relatively aggressive position. He's going to be playing in the window down the 3 line just to get some vision on anything pushing possibly down there towards A. We've got the 215B in an interesting spot back here on the train car, going to be looking down tracks as well. And then we've got the E5 playing the forward position on the B side, and the Mouse going to be playing a little bit more forward towards the AMX 50Bs, not playing the corner of the house as usual. Very interesting move. Now, this is a pretty devastating push coming from RNGD. If they are not ready for this, this is going to be rough. Victor may get it pretty bad here. Looks like they are stacking up, just trying to get some information. I don't know if Victor's going to pop up enough to get spotted. Looks like the 50Bs are choosing to stay hidden, which I do like that idea. Wait for them to make a mistake. See some pings coming out from IP potentially. Just marking up a few of the side positions toward B. Bone Sneak making the push down Banana. And very stable position so far from IP, who are just waiting for that hill push, which it looks like they are starting to stack up for as we speak. Looks like the Mouse opting to be aggressive towards Hill. I don't know if I like that idea. He's going to get punished a little bit before he can get out, because that's a huge track. So far, not able to... Maybe that was a little bit of a bait, actually. That might be... Ooh, but he gets punished real hard. He's already out of here. That's their heaviest tank already gone. 50B is going to make the peak to try to kill Dodger Blue, but they're just going to get farmed out as well. However, I think Dodger Blue is going to go down here. Good return. Victor in an unfortunate position in a 1v3, relatively alone. The 3 tanks on the back of IP not able to make it up to him in time. He is going to get pushed. and killed for relatively free. The AMX 50B's on reload, going for the rotation out. Looks like RNGD gonna try to catch them out before they're able to get away. Good shots on Kotel. 50Bs are able to make it out. However, Victor does go down with very little damage in return so far. Wonderful from RNGD. Beautiful fire onto the FV215B. He's going to go down the next shot he takes, which should be any second, possibly from the 50B. However, he is kind of held down from the Super. Super getting hit pretty hard. Wonderful hit from the Sturm Tiger on the AMX 50B. Sets him on fire. First shot, putting him down significantly. However, the advantage still heavy in RNGD's favor, as they are up a tank and up significant hit points. Looks like Fuki Lord playing against the 250Bs. However, Io's coming in for the return, as well as Bone Sneak, full health Mouse coming right in. They're going to have to kill him if they can and get out before they're killed, but it's too late. Io's coming in for the cleanup. Bone Sneak going to be able to take out Risotto. Io's not able to finish. One shell short. But once Bone Sneak takes care of the FV215B, there it is. There's the kill. Bone Sneak going to finish up Risotto while Ios is on reload. Here comes Vagabond. Going to be able to put a clip into the Sturm Tiger. Big hit from the Sturm Tiger, but not enough to kill. So far, positions of RNGD significantly outweighing the positions of IP. IP down to one lone Super Conqueror playing the window. This is going to be a wonderful, wonderful game for RNGD on round 2. Proving that they can do it both on defense and attack. Good cleanup on IP. That's going to make the score 2-0 in the favor of RNGD. Let's check out that scoreboard. On the side of IP, we've got Peace Duke in the Sturm Tiger, 0 kills, 2,747 damage. We've got Mutnik in the Super Conqueror, 0 kills, 2,583 damage. We've got Lakajlad in the AMX 50B, 1 kill, 2,255 damage. Kotel in the AMX 50B, 1,659 damage. Risotto in the FV215B, 1 kill, 1,265 damage. Gardine in the Mouse, 0 kills, 960 damage. Victor in the T110E5, 0 kills, 833 damage. And on the side of RNGD, we've got Ledzio in the Waffle off E100, 1 kill, 3,931 damage. Vagabond in the AMX 50B, 1 kill, 3,412 damage. Ios in the AMX 50B, 2 kills, 3,191 damage. Koza in the T110E5, 2 kills, 2,766 damage. Bone Sneak in the Mouse, 1 kill, 1,904 damage. Fuki Lord in the IS4, 0 kills, 1,097 damage. And Dodger Blue in the IS4, 0 kills, 399 damage. And I will say, on the side of RNGD, another great round for Vagabond, who was also able to get 2,478 assisted damage, most likely from tracks. Let's take a look at that. Yep, from tracks, but still, tracks are worthwhile. And we love to see that, letting those tanks get punished before they're able to pull back. All right, let's head on into the team selection again, as we head into round number 3, this time on Arctic region. RNGD showing some dominance in the first map of Himmelsdorf. But this is the time that IP needs to be able to turn this around. It is a best 2-11, so first to 6. Still, at least 4 more rounds to play here. And so far, really interesting games. I will say I do like the aggressiveness of RNGD on both defense and attack. Keeping things a little bit lively, something that we haven't seen a lot in some of the previous games that will go 5 to 7 minutes without any exchanges happening or anything being lit. Big example of that would be Westfield. We've seen a lot of very, very slow plays on Westfield, so it's good to see a little bit of a coordinated rush coming out these first 2 games. IP going ahead and picking up 3 tanks. We've got 2 CS63s, very popular pick on most maps, and a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. On the side of RNGD, we've got 1 CS63 picked up. 3 CS63s coming from IP. That's going to be a rough one to run into if you're alone, and those 3 tanks catch you off guard. We're going to see how they end up utilizing that advantage for their gain. Looks like IP has also chosen 2 IS-7s and a Chieftain Mark 6, finalizing their 7 tanks. Now we're just waiting on RNGD to pull up their 7-man lineup, including a Grill 15 and a second CS63. Now, as we've seen in some of the previous games covered, Grill 15 is a hit or miss tank. If they can get good shots on tanks, the Grill 15 is a wonderful addition. But if it falls short, the brawling capability is not quite on the same level as a few other tanks. This is also the first time that we've seen a Marat come out, and we've seen how devastating those can be in packs, or just using the clip. You really turn the tide of a push, or really damage someone in a bad position, or just crossing a field. Looks like we have all tanks selected on both sides. We're about to head into round number 3, first round on Arctic region with RNGD on defense. On the side of RNGD, we've got 2 IS-7s, a Marat, a Leopard 1, 2 CS-63s, and a Grill 15. And on the side of IP, we've got a Chieftain Mark 6, 2 IS-7s, 3 CS-63s, and a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. IP going for a very, very speed-forward build, very similar to what the side of RNGD is doing. However, they do have a little bit quicker of a lineup. And Risotto spending no time getting in there to get some information. Going to play real forward down the 7 line towards the B cap just to spot some people out. Meanwhile, RNGD getting that Marat pushed forward as quick as they can. Good initial spot on the IS-7 and the other IS-7 as well. Not able to get that side shot in on iFarm Salt. Side armor did block him there. 3 CSs. Oh, huge hits into the Cotel, the first CS. Big hit from the Grill. He's already down. That's a major loss. Peace Duke trying to get in there on Crucial, but I don't know if that's the right move. That may have been way too aggressive. The punish from the side. He's now stuck on the rock, down to a 1 hit. He's going to take the fall potentially. No, he's able to get up, but pushed back down by his teammate. So far, that Grill 15 able to get quite a bit of damage put in. That's a really unfortunate spot. That's already essentially 3 tanks down for IP. They've lost all 3 CSs. Looks like RNGD was ready for that. Now IP, 2 IS-7s on base, going to have a rough time as they have crossfires, and Ledzio going to make the play. But Crucial and Salt able to get punish into the back of those tanks. Good cleanup there on one of the IS-7s on base. Now we just have the other IS-7, and he goes down to just Victor. What a quick game. 2 minutes in, and we're already out of this round. Another wonderful, dominant play from RNGD. And that's going to take us up to 3-0. RNGD in the win. On the side of IP, we've got the Chieftain Mark 6, 2,515 damage, 0 kills. Played by Victor, we've got Lokajlad in the IS-7, 0 kills, 895 damage. Vanguardine in the IS-7, 0 kills, 888 damage. Risotto in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, 0 kills, 692 damage. Peace Duke in the CS-63, 0 kills, 335 damage. Cotel in the CS-63, 0 kills, 0 damage. And Motnik in the CS-63, 0 kills, 0 damage. On the side of RNGD, we've got Crucial Crossout in the IS-7, 1 kill, 2,934 damage. IOs in the Grill 15, 1 kill, 2,573 damage. Koza GG in the Marat, 0 kills, 2,425 damage. iFarm Salt in the IS-7, 3 kills, 2,287 damage. Dodger Blue in the Leopard 1, 0 kills, 1,972 damage, sorry. Ledzio in the CS-63, 1 kill, 1,497 damage. And Vagabond in the CS-63, 0 kills, 711 damage. Taking those CSs out that game so fast was a major, major advantage on the side of RNGD. Grill able to put in some very damaging punish as soon as they made the push. I don't think IP was expecting all of their tanks to be there. However, unfortunately for them, they were. So another very dominating play by RNGD. Great map awareness, great setup. IP falling right into the hands. Let's head on back over to the team picker and see what's going on for round number 2 on Arctic region, this time with IP on defense. Looks like a very similar lineup again from RNGD. Opting to play the Marat IS-7, Leopard 1, CS-63s, Grill 15, and I think that's actually identical to what it was last time. Then on the side of IP, we have a 279E, most likely going to be playing that G6 position. A Grill 15, probably going to be providing oversight like IOs did last game, just to stop any kind of push onto the B side. And so far, really interesting games, really quick games. That one just down to 2 minutes. 2 minutes off the clock before it ended. I would say the average time is probably roughly around the 6 minute off mark with 4 minutes remaining. This time, extraordinarily fast. All right, looks like we're just waiting for IP to finish picking up those tanks. Choosing to pull out an E50M. Another interesting pick on this map. 2 E50Ms, actually. Something we haven't seen before. Not sure how common that is, but as far as the games that I've streamed, that is a new one. A little bit of a different lineup from IP. Curious where those E50Ms are going to go, but wherever they do go, hopefully, whatever's in front of them, not too light, because if they get rammed by one of those, not going to feel great. Looks like we have a Rheinmetall Panzervon picked up and a Valor and a Chieftain Mark 6. That's all 7 for each side. We're going to be heading into round number 4 any second now. All right. Round number 4 is starting with IP on defense. On the side of IP, we've got a Chieftain Mark 6, a Valor, an Object 279E, 2 E50Ms, a Rheinmetall Panzervon, and a Grill 15. On the side of RNGD, we've got 2 IS-7s, a Marat, a Leopard 1, 2 CS-63s, and a Grill 15. A little bit of grill-on-grill action here. And an entirely different lineup from IP versus RNGD when they played defense. It looks like the 279E is probably going to be playing up towards that G6 position, where he's able to get that hull in a good position where they cannot pin it. However, we have seen that kind of work against them if they do play the B side. However, the side of RNGD playing heavy aggressive on the A side, hoping to possibly get some early advantage. CS-63 does get lit from Kotel in the Panzervon. And they're going to continue with their push. Leopard 1 also getting spotted as they cross over. Good job from the Rheinmetall there. Ledzio going straight in, spotting the Rheinmetall. Rheinmetall's going to have to fall back, and Ledzio's going to chase. Rheinmetall trying to get out. Ledzio not able to get a shot as of right now. However, he is able to get them out of that position, which is great for them. Killing their information in that spot. Looks like the E50M is going to be taking his place. Good position there for the 279E. They are set up exactly where he would want them to be. Ledzio still playing forward towards A base. Waiting for someone to make a move. Looks like we have the IP, Valor, and Chieftain making a rotation here. Possibly shooting up the 9 line to try to get a little bit of a back push going. Peace Duke finally getting spotted. Misses a shot on Ledzio, unfortunately. But has not bled any hit points yet. It looks like, yes, the Valor and Chieftain Mark 6 are going to be making that 9 push play, heading towards iFarm Salt. Probably going to be caught out in kind of a rough position. He is in a decent spot to catch him. Vagabond getting aggressive in that CS. Put a little bit of base pressure on. Light Tank unable to get any vision on him as of right now. because he is playing towards a 1-2. He's going to rotate out, though. Looks like the E50M takes a shot from Dodger Blue, but a big hit return from the Grill 15. Not sure he expected him to be there. Got a little aggressive. Minute and 14 seconds on the base. Vagabond still unspotted. Ledzio taking the spots for him. Crucial cross out in a very good position to prevent any kind of movement from happening here. And it looks like, yes, the Valor and the Chieftain did get spotted by iFarm Salt. So they are going to be stuck on that ridge, not able to make a move. They're out of the fight for quite a long time here. That could be an unfortunate advantage on the side of RNGD. Grill 15 missing his blind fire on the Murat. But now he does get spotted, giving the E50M one more punishing shot in return. Cotel taking some hits, trying to get the spot on base. He does get it, but goes down for that aggressive spotting run there. Ledzio not getting too much in return. Vagabond just now getting the punish. Unfortunate bounce from the E50M, who gets another punishing shot from iFarm Salt. Vagabond going to be playing up and aggressive where Ledzio was before. Ledzio still taking a little bit of fire, but unable to pin. Victor making the cross on iFarm Salt, getting punished down to 903 hit points. Making that IP disadvantage in hit points significantly more. Crucial cross had taken a massive hit from the Grill 15. Still decent advantage in RNGD's favor as far as hit points goes. Victor's going to go down to Salt here. He's going to get aggressive, finish him off. Does get ammo racked in the process and brought down to 1,200 hit points. They still have a minute and 22 seconds on base. Good punish on Vagabond there from the 279E. Good shot from Salt onto the E50M. E50M goes down to a one hit. He's going to have to play more passive. He's not going to be able to get away with that again. Or he's going to go down for it. Looks like Motnick's still stuck where he is. Farm Salt getting good damage in on him. iFarm Salt has been a complete menace over there for those two heavy tanks, not able to get anything going. And Peace Duke just trying to get resets on base to fight Vagabond. Big hit from the Grill 15 on the Dodger Blue, who's decided to play more aggressive. But the E50M down to a one shot. He's in a bit of a rough position now. He's kind of stuck between a couple of tanks. Not sure what exactly he's going to be able to do from here. Murat misses the finish and gets punished by the Grill 15 as well. IP doing a great job to bring the hit points back, even in the severe disadvantage. Crucial crossout getting beautiful shots onto Motnick as he crosses, as well as the CS63. No longer has an advantage on iFarm Salt. He's going to go down. And there's the kill onto Motnick. Another good hit onto the Grill 15 from Peace Duke. But I believe it's going to be too little too late on the side of IP, as it is a 7-3 advantage as far as tanks alive for the RNGD side. Peace Duke taking a lot of these hits. He's taking a lot of shots and bounced them, but just not enough to turn the tide of this game in that position. Very strong spot, very well played, but just not quite enough. Down to 14 seconds on cap. They've got 3 on base. He does get a reset, but only for 4 seconds. Ledzio's got most of the cap points. Gardine down to a one hit. Possibly going to go down to Dodger Blue. Dodger Blue choosing to shoot the Grill 15, who's now been spotted, getting punished. Gardine is able to finish off Dodger Blue, but they do win off a cap. Let's go over to the scoreboard. On the side of IP, we've got Risota in the Grill 15, 0 kills, 4,178 damage. Peace Duke in the Object 279E, 2,466 damage. And blocked 14,700. So you can tell he was very useful in that spot. We've got Lokajlad in the E50M, 0 kills, 1,464 damage. Motnuk in the Chieftain Mark 6, 856 damage. Victor in the Valor, 0 kills, 817 damage. Gardine in the E50M, 1 kill, 613 damage. And Kotel in the Rheinmetall Panzervon, 0 kills, 0 damage. On the side of RNGD, we've got iFarm Salt in the IS-7, 3 kills, 3,357 damage. Crucial Crossout in the IS-7, 0 kills, 3,318 damage. Spooky Lord in the Marat, 0 kills, 1,719 damage. Vagabond in the CS63, 0 kills, 1,405 damage. Koza in the Grill 15, 1 kill, 1,256 damage. Dodger Blue in the Leopard 1, 0 kills, 1,248 damage. And Ledzio in the CS63, 1 kill, 916 damage. RNGD taking both sides of Arctic region, making this a 4-0 game. Wonderful plays by them. Really good spot by iFarm Salt there, who was able to contest and stop the push from 2 of IP's heavies, good DPM heavies as well, rotating. Made them go for the cross, and that cross was punished, and they did go down. iFarm Salt able to live the entire game relatively easy in that position. Very good spot for the I-7. Now we are going to move on to Malinovka. Looks like IP on the side of attack is going to be pulling out a Grill 15 already. We've seen plenty of Grill 15 gameplay over the last couple of games. Seems to be a very big choice for people once the Stritzvon is banned. And we have seen the Stritzvon banned in nearly every game we've played. However, the Kronvon is a little bit of a rare one. RNGD looking to take 2 more rounds before they get the win. IP needing to stop them before they're able to get to 6. And so far, RNGD making all the right moves, seemingly at the right times, able to get these wins. Looks like the side of RNGD choosing to take a 277. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of that tank and say, why not choose an IS-7 over it? Really, it's just up to personal preference. And a lot of teams that we've seen actually like and prefer the 277 over the IS-7. It appears that Vagabond is one of those people. Koza picking up the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. Another really important pick. On a map like this, very open, intelligence is key. And being able to get those spots, definitely important to be able to take the win. Dodger Blue back in his Leopard 1 again. And Ledzio pulling out the Grill 15 for the side of RNGD. Matching them up once again. Just waiting for a couple more tanks to be picked here. Looks like we're waiting for 2 more on the side of RNGD, 6 more on the side of IP. IP got to be thinking of something else to do to get a win or 2 out of them before they're able to make it up to 6. It is almost game point. This is going to be a vital round to win. So we're going to see if they are able to find a strategy or make some changes to make that happen. Looks like we're waiting for 1 more on the side of RNGD. They've chosen to take a Valor. Another good tank for this map. And a second Leopard 1 from Fuki Lord. Waiting for those 5 more tanks on the side of IP. Hopefully they're thinking about a couple more strategies to go down. Maybe one that's going to catch RNGD off guard. Because so far they've felt very prepared for what's happening on the side of IP. We do see a Marat come out. And even last round, the Marat able to get some good shots in. Very devastating tank if it's able to shoot all those rounds into you one time. But other than that, pretty standard plays on both sides here. T95 E6 coming out on the side of IP. So far, great semifinal games. If you guys are enjoying it, make sure to follow the channel, turn on those notifications because we are going to be covering another game later today. Another best of 11. But next time between Zeke and DZ on the NA server. All right, just waiting on one more tank from IP. We're going to get this game rolling. All right, they are fully picked up with the second Marat. We're going to be heading into game number 5 any second now with RNGD on defense. Just waiting for that confirmation from both teams. And here we are going into game number 5. A very, very important game for IP to win. If they do not win this, it will be game point in RNGD's favor. On the side of RNGD, we've got 2 Valors, a 277, 2 Leopard 1s, a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, and a Grill 15. On the side of IP, we've got a Chieftain Mark 6, a Valor, 2 Marats, a T95 E6, a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, and a Grill 15. Victor immediately going to go towards the hillside. Got a very good spawn for that. It looks like he's going to turn away a little bit. Real aggressive play from IP down towards the 1 line. However, that's going to be a really nasty awakening if they don't spot these tanks beforehand, because the advantage on the side of RNGD. I don't know how they know every time. They're prepared for this. I mean, Kotel is about to be in for it in just a second if he's not careful. He's getting a little aggressive there. If these tanks get spotted and they get hits on him, it's going to be bad. Aggressive plays from IP, playing up to the next ridge. They are at a bit of a disadvantage here, though. RNGD up 2 tanks on this side. I stand corrected, they actually have 3 tanks. Not counting that Grill 15 playing a little further back. One of the Marats does go down, and the next Marat is going to get punished heavily for trying to retreat here. I do expect him to take a couple more hits before he's fully out. However, that was a bounce. Luckily for him, another good hit from the 277. Peace Duke. In kind of a vulnerable spot for iFarm Salt. He's got to be real careful not to get farmed in the side, and already RNGD up nearly a full tank advantage. Good hit on the Valor there. Great shot from the Grill 15. Played by Marazota. Kotel getting lit. Does take punish from Koza. Does get one in return. What a wonderful shot on the move there from him. Does get punished by Dodger Blue. However, Koza getting shot from the Grill 15 down to a 1 hit. Not sure that that move was worth it, but Kotel is probably going to go down in return. Possibly 2 Koza if he's able to get that finishing blow using that bush. We'll see here. Looks like he's not going to be able to, but Marzota does get hit hard in that Grill 15. Going to try to rotate out. Not taking any more punish yet. Victor with another one into him. 3,000 hit point advantage on the side of RNGD yet again, and a tank up. We've seen this a couple of times in a few of the previous rounds. RNGD making IP suffer in the first little bit. Another good hit put in there. Peace Duke kind of in a really vulnerable spot. He's trapped between 2 sets of tanks. If he gets lit, it's going to be a bad, bad day for him. Kind of looks like Koza is going to do exactly that. Possibly try to get him lit if he can. Lezio going to get set up to punish. He does get spotted. Misses his shot on iFarm Salt. Lezio getting ready to punish Peace Duke for that. Is still unspotted. Using the bush. Does get lit. Not able to get his shot off. Another missed shot there on iFarm Salt. But did not get hit in return for that. Good hit into Peace Duke there from iFarm Salt. Getting him down to a 2-shot. HP advantage still heavily in RNGD's favor. Most of IP's hit points sitting on the hill with that Chieftain Mark 6 at full health. He's just not able to get much going. Keep in mind they are on attack, so they're going to have to make a move eventually down to 6 minutes. Almost half of this game already gone. So far, not looking great on the side of IP. RNGD being very dominant. Not to say that that cannot change. Bone Sneak going for the push does get lit. Not sure anything's going to have punish on him, though. He's in a relatively safe position. P-Stu getting lit does go down. Beautiful shot there. A little bit of a crossfire end to him. Motnik does get spotted on hill. If he's not careful, he's going to get hit pretty hard by that Grill 15, who will be able to go through him with relative ease. Koza getting good spots on the Grill 15 and the T95 E6 in that Rheinmetall. Grill 15 going down to a one-shot. I think that was actually a blind fire after they were unspotted. So good shot to whoever that was. A lot of IP's tanks here do get lit. Cotel down to a 1. Gets killed by Dodger Blue. Wasn't expecting him to be there, I don't believe. Or at least not expecting him to peek over and get in a vulnerable position for it. Victor playing up on Fuki Lord, who does get hit by the Marat and ammo wrecked. But Victor in a position to get punished by those leopards sitting up there on the C line. Victor may be able to take out Fuki Lord here, but it is a little bit too late for any kind of moves, as Motnik is the only tank left with any hit points in a decent position. But on attack, down to 1 tank, full hit points. This is going to be another dominant win for RNGD, making this a 5-0 game, putting it to game point. IP having one more chance on the side of defense to turn this game around. We'll see if maybe they opt to do a 1v1 here. I know that Call of Halo's not here, but he would say respect the 1v1. We'll see if they do it. And about 99% of the time they do not, so we'll see if Dodger Blue maybe changes their mind on that. Maybe. Maybe. He does miss the shot. I'm not sure if he was actually trying to track him or what, but it does look like iFarm Salt's going to get a few hits in. No 1v1 this round. However, that is going to be 5-0 for RNGD. Let's head over to the scoreboard. On the side of IP, we've got Lokojlad in the Marat with 0 kills, 1971 damage. Victor in the T95 E6, 2 kills, 1700 damage. Mrazota in the Grill 15, 0 kills, 1530 damage. Mutnik in the Chieftain Mark 6, 0 kills, 1201 damage. Gardine in the Marat, 0 kills, 771 damage. Peace Duke in the Valor, 0 kills, 408 damage. Kotel in the Rheinmetall Panzervon, 0 kills, 341 damage, and 1210 assist. On the side of RNGD, we've got Dodger Blue in the Leopard 1, 2 kills, 3925 damage. Ledzio in the Grill 15, 0 kills, 2973 damage. Koza in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, 1 kill, 1969 damage. iFarm Salt in the Valor, 0 kills, 1920 damage. Fuki Lord in the Leopard 1, 2 kills, 1643 damage. Vagabond in the 277, 1 kill, 1388 damage. And Bone Sneak in the Valor, 1 kill, 132 damage. What an insane spotting game for Koza. Good map plays there, good control. While he was alive, he was a very devastating entity for the IP side. Constantly getting him lit, constantly causing some of those back tanks to get shot that didn't need to. So a great game from him, and a really unfortunate first push for IP straight into the disadvantage. RNGD reading that very well, making the aggressive play to take immediate tank up. Let's head back over to the team picker and see what's going on this next round. RNGD almost fully picked already, but IS-7 Marat, Rheinmetall, IS-7, and Grill 15. Choosing to take a second Marat with devastating potential between those two. Side of IP, we're seeing a CS63 come out and the Grill 15 again. Grill 15 was able to get a few good hits in there. So it wasn't a very bad pick. Hopefully on the side of defense are able to do the same thing. Looks like the side of RNGD is picked up. Just waiting on the side of IP to pick 5 more tanks up. So far, wonderful games. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. These teams have been playing great. This is game point for RNGD. However, if IP does take this, we could see a few more games come in. Would make for an interesting series. We are still missing a couple of maps. We do still have Mines and Sand River lined up. If IP is able to hang on, we will be running into Mines next. So hopefully we can see a little bit of a 5-1 game. And then go check out that map as well. IP still thinking it through. This is the last chance they're going to have to take this into Mines. Potentially the final game of Calamity for them. Looks like Hotel is going to get back in that Rheinmetall. And Schlad in the IS-7. And we see an IS-4 come out. Interesting. We do see an IS-4. I do think that's a bit of an interesting one, but I do like that. And maybe IP does need to do something a little bit different, a little bit off to kind of throw RNGD in a position where they're not going to expect exactly what they're going to do. It seems that so far, the last couple of games, RNGD able to kind of guess what IP is going to do with relative accuracy. And because of that, able to get some things going. We're going to head on into game number 6, game point for RNGD. On the side of IP, we've got a Valor, an IS-7, an IS-4, a Murat, a CS-63, a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, and a Grill 15. On the side of RNGD, we've got a Valor, 2 IS-7s, 2 Murats, a Rheinmetall, and a Grill 15. Now, last time we saw RNGD go really heavy into the K line. This time, the exact opposite happening for IP. IP choosing to play heavy on the 890 line, even pinging it up over there. And on the side of RNGD, it looks like they are going to do the same, primarily playing the northern side while leaving Koza to spot the south. This is going to be a bit of a light tank information match between Kotel and Koza. They do light each other. Not much able to punish there. However, they did leave Vagabond behind to try to prevent any kind of push from happening. Good shot. I think that was from Koza onto Kotel on the move as well. What a wonderful hit. And it looks like IP has let the IS-4 alone over there to protect Kotel. But if they do need to rotate that IS-4 out, it is going to take them a hot minute. So that could lead to a bit of an advantage for the RNGD side. Them choosing to stack up onto the hill. But Ledzio going to get spotted before they're able to stack fully. Fuki Lord with a major hit coming in from the Grill 15. What a wonderful shot from Risotto. That is going to hurt in this push. Crucial Crosshead also going to take one before he's able to get up. He's actually going to take 2. Murat's still unspotted. Not able to get another one off. Does opt in for the reload. Here comes a fairly good push from RNGD. But it kind of feels like IP is fairly ready for this. This may be unfortunate for the side of RNGD, who may think there's not a lot of tanks up here. Now realizing maybe there is. Fuki Lord going down to a 2-hit. Should see some good focus fire coming out here soon. Hopefully they're going to try to prevent that Murat from going down. They need that clip. Murat's going to push in. Guardian getting a little too aggressive, getting focused out. Down to a 1-hit. He goes down already. Significant disadvantage now in IP's favor on the hill. Facing 6 tanks to 3 with Grill oversight, but not quite enough because Mokushlad's also going to go down on the IS-7. That was a bit of their anchor there. Just leaving the CS and the Valor to rotate down the hill, but it's kind of too late. RNGD going to clean this up. The Grill 15 is not going to be able to do enough to stop it. So just in that 30-second period there, we saw a bit of an advantage on the IP side with those early farms from the Grill 15. But now we see a significant advantage on the side of RNGD, just leaving 2 full health tanks alive, while RNGD has a full 7. IS4 is going to get lit. He's in a very open position at the moment. He will probably get farmed for this. However, that armor is doing him justice. Here comes the push from the RNGD guys. They're going to go around this rock and they're going to try to finish off Motnik. The only real danger here being Koza going down, but I don't believe they're going to focus him unless that girl's able to get a shot. Unfortunate bounce from the Grill 15 onto iFarm Salt. Now just Mirzota in a 1v7 situation, full health, but versus that many tanks, not much you can do. Vagabond going to come in. Not able to finish. Fukilord does not go down. And there it is. Now we just have just Mirzota left. I guess that was Koza that died. And that is the 6th game. That is a win for RNGD. Let's head over to that final scoreboard. On the side of IP, we've got Mirzota in the Grill 15, 2,249 damage and a kill. Victor in the Valor, 0 kills, 1,700 damage. Kotel in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, 0 kills, 1,558 damage. Mutnik in the IS-4, 0 kills, 1,166 damage. Lokajlad in the IS-7, 0 kills, 936 damage. Peace Duke in the CS-63, 0 kills, 802 damage. Gardine in the Marat, 0 kills, 789 damage. And on the side of RNGD, we've got Vagabond in the Marat with 2 kills, 3,781 damage. Koza in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, 1 kill, 2,360 damage. Fukilord in the Marat, 1 kill, 1,955 damage. Crucial Crossout in the IS-7, 1 kill, 1,740 damage. Land of Chad in the IS-7, 2 kills, 1,697 damage. iFarm Salt in the Valor, 0 kills, 1,566 damage. And Ledzio in the Grill 15, 0 kills, 1,401 damage. What a interesting turnaround for RNGD that game. IP getting a little bit of a hit point advantage on a couple lucky shots from the Grill 15 onto that Marat. But when they finally made that push, great focus fire over the hill from RNGD, able to take out quite a few tanks relatively quickly on the side of IP, forming the advantage and finishing up with that push out on the Grill 15 in the IS-4. Wonderful games from both teams. RNGD able to predict and play accurately around what IP was going to do. IP not able to get it to mines. But thank you to both teams for taking the time to come here and play today. You both played wonderfully. Hopefully everyone in the chat had a great time watching these two teams put it up. If you want to catch another game, we've got another game in just a few hours. It's going to be between Zeke and DZ, another best of 11. Also, make sure to follow and turn those notifications on if you want notifications when more games go live. And thank you all for watching. We're going to head over to the Team 1 victory screen and see RNGD out. Thank you guys for tuning in.